90% of all statistics are made up. Probably even including that one, okay? Again, here's another one that was popularized by Mark Twain. You may have heard it attributed to a lot of different people. And actually what he says is even the people that he attributes the quote to are not the people that the quote came from. All right. So that goes back to the whole subtitle of this presentation, the top 10 things you can do. I'm not really sure they're the top 10 things. They may not even be the top 10 things that you should do. They are certainly 10 of the things that I commonly encounter when I'm doing this. I can say at this moment in time, at the moment in time in which I wrote this presentation, these things were the things that popped up and I ordered them. I actually thought about where they would sequence into this. Okay? I can't tell you that if you ask me a month from now, there won't be a different top 10. But that's the nature of what we find ourselves doing. Okay? So number one, know your problem. Okay? Stop trying to apply training solutions to non-training problems. I'll give you an example. Okay? You've put in a brand new ERP system. Your users are upset because they have all this angst about the new system that went in. The solution is training, of course. Okay? Well, wait a minute. Is that really the solution? If your users are upset, do they have every reason to be upset? Whether you're using eBusiness Suite, PeopleSoft, whatever, did they switch out of a system that worked really well into a system that hasn't been set up properly yet? Do they have a reason to be upset? And guess what? If you apply training dollars to that non-training problem, you're going to waste a lot of money. And worse than just wasting a lot of money, you're going to waste reputation. Okay? You're going to waste opportunity cost. Think about that. If I stand up in front of you and I say, the solution to this is X, and we're going to go do this training, and then I do all this training and I'm done with it and I haven't made any change whatsoever to your problem, I've ruined my reputation. But what about the person who said beforehand when I said it's a training problem and they said, no, it's not. I ruined their reputation when I beat them out with my training solution. So 2 reputations have been ruined. What about the opportunity lost to the company in terms of how it comes about in playing? So I'm going to say, start here. Be brutally honest about what training can and cannot do. Know your value. We talked a little bit about ROI. This is my favorite measure currently. Anyone here heard of Dr. Will Thalheimer? I mentioned him later on in the presentation. You'll want to get that, remember that name. But he just wrote a brand new book called Performance-Oriented Smile Sheets. And for those of you that are actual trainers in here, go get that book. It will fundamentally change your evaluation process. I'm serious. Okay, this is a well-researched, well-thought-out book. But one of the things I've been talking with Will about is about the next part, which is ROI. Because here's the truth. And several of the people from my organization have actually worked on Wall Street. If I go to Wall Street and I tell you that I have an ROI of 110%, do you know what Wall Street investors are going to do? They're going to get dump trucks full of money. I'm going to fill Manhattan streets, okay? I'm probably also named Bernie Madoff, okay? Because there's no way that 110% is real. And yet, those are the kinds of things that when we talk ROI on training projects, over 100% ROIs are not uncommon. Okay? So what does that mean? What does that mean? You wouldn't ever go to your CEO and say, I'm going to produce 110% ROI on this training project. You know what, Bill? We're in the wrong business. This training business really produces a tremendous ROI. We need to get out of the business that we're in. We're just going to training business. No, training exists to support the core business of your organization, whatever that is. And that's another brutal truth. No matter what the ROI says. And here's what's interesting, and we talked quickly about them and said that there's quantitative and qualitative measures. What happens when your ROI says, I'm producing 110% return, and yet your end users are going into their VP's office and saying, I don't have enough training. Well, what do you mean you don't have enough training? We just did a massive training project. Yeah, but it wasn't right. I'm unhappy with the training. The training hasn't produced real results. Okay? Well, what are those real results? What's happening is you're getting a misalignment between the quantitative and the qualitative aspects of this. And by the way, don't think of qualitative measures as something that's just, okay? Academics and scientific research use qualitative measures all the time. Medical research wants to know, how do you feel? What's your pain levels? Okay? Those are all qualitative measures, but they're important. Okay? So don't ignore them in your own training, but know the value that you are delivering to the organization around the ways that you're coming up to this. Correlation is not causation. My favorite chart ever. Okay? Ice cream sales soar, murders soar. Ban ice cream. Okay? It obviously causes murders. Okay? Okay. This is what's typically called a spurious correlation. Okay? I want to encourage you to think of this both ways. Okay? Don't just trumpet your success early when you don't know that your training has actually been the result of the success. Likewise, don't fail to trumpet your success when you should. It goes both ways. Okay? So, what are some things that you might want to consider in this? Reporting biases. Do you think that maybe people that are giving you data might have reasons to distort that data for good or bad for your training purposes? Okay? Do you think that maybe some data might be intentionally flawed? What about human psychology? You know, the kill the messenger syndrome. No one wants to deliver bad news, so we just lose that data, okay, for good or bad. All right? Trading audience variation. You guys are all in here. If I brought another group of people, you might or might not get the same value from it. Okay? All kinds of other things to consider in deciding whether or not your training is actually having the impact that you think it's going to have. Because this all goes around something called cognitive dissonance. Okay? And this is why people line up into their VP's offices, right? They know something's not right. They just can't put their finger on it. Okay? All right? And, okay, so if you've got that problem, you've got to pay attention to your end users that are doing this. And you think this doesn't happen, but here's a case. I'm going to tell some lies now, and I bet everyone in this room has either heard these lies, or worse yet, if you're like me, you've told these lies. All right, you ready? Have you ever had to say, this course is very important to us, and then it's followed by this really crappy e-learning course that people just sort of, oh yeah, I see a few smiles, okay. Or, better yet, is we want to ensure that you can do your job, followed by a canned course that never addresses what the learners actually need to do their job, but man, it's nice and canned. It didn't cost us too much money. Okay. We deliver high quality training and materials, followed by this really pretty binder that sits in your bookshelf, okay, and then is never opened again. It's that high a quality. I guess you just get it by osmosis, okay? Or this course is designed using adult learning theory. That's my favorite one. That's why I said if you wanted to leave early, you could. I respect you as adult learners. Okay, followed by someone that just gets up there and then just rambles on, tells bad jokes. I don't know. You get the point. Okay? So the next thing you have to think about is you have to accept that rapid change is absolutely essential. You can't fight it. Okay? Patches are going to come and they're going to render your current training absolutely obsolete. And oh, by the way, cloud apps, If any